Hello everyone, I'm Dan Clark and this is my assistant Little Chef. Look at the camera, little chef. Hey, little girl, look at the camera. Look up there, say hi!
Hi!
Now, my daughter and I had so much fun making up the soup that after watching the video, she insisted on helping me with something else. So, I'm going to show you how to make up some very quick and easy flatbread, which, well, she can't make it, but she can help. So, first, you need a bowl. I'm not going to be making up that much, so I could just use a cereal bowl for how much I could make, but I'm going to use this. Don't ask me how big it is, I have no idea. If you're going to make up a lot of it, then obviously you get a bigger bowl. So first, you need to get some water, flour, and salt. The recipes I've seen online say that you want about 2 cups of flour for every 1 cup of water. I don't measure. So remember, 1 cup of water to 2 cups of flour, but once you get the hang of it, do however you want. As you heard, no measuring. Now, for this, you can use that. No. Now, for this, you can use any type of flour you want. So, if you want to be really healthy, you can use whole wheat flour. I just bought whatever was at the grocery store. This is actually used. I'm in China, and this is stuff they use for steamed buns and stuff like that. And it works well enough. Okay, help me pour. Again, as you can see, I'm not really measuring. If it, hey. Careful. Careful. Okay, start stirring. Stir, okay? Now, if you found that you added a bit too much flour, you simply add some more water. If it's a little too wet, you add more flour. It's very, very easy to do. Now, what you should do, you don't have to, but you should add a little bit of salt. Again, it really does depend on how much you make. Because this is quite a bit, I'm going to put in about a teaspoon. But if you have a lot less, obviously put in less. If you don't like salt, you don't need to put it in. I just find that the salt gives it a bit of a better flavor. Stir. Like this. Stir. Really quick. Really quick. Quick. Okay. So, 1 sec. So as you can see, right now, it's pretty runny, so I'm going to add some more flour. And I'm actually going to open this up quite a bit wider. That was not planned. Okay, keep stirring. Now, with this recipe is actually very good if you like going out camping, because as you can see, it's extremely easy to make. You just use 3 ingredients, and you just have to mix it around with some water, and then you can either cook it on a frying pan, you can cook it in a stove, or you could go and cook it over a campfire itself. And you don't even need any oil when you're making this. If you have a non-stick pan and you want to use a little bit more flour, you can just do that. I'll show you in a few minutes. And yeah, this also stores quite well. When you're done, if you just want to keep it as flat as dough, just put it into a nice tight container, and it will last for quite a while. It'll last for at least a week. And or you can go and cook it up and it will last for a few days. If you make it really hard, like a cracker, it'll last for about 2 weeks, I've found. If you make it a little bit chewier, softer, more like bread or pitas, they don't last quite as long, but still pretty good. Okay, Aunt Chi, do you want to get your hands dirty?
No.
You don't want to get your hands dirty? Okay, then let Daddy get his hands dirty. So, at about this point, you can see it's pretty soft, but it's not super sticky right now. You're going to get your hands dirty. You can either keep mixing it with a fork or some sort of mixer. I say use your hands. It's much quicker. You want to help Daddy? Okay, you help Daddy. Is this fun? Okay. Yeah, we're making our hands all yucky. Again, I did wash my hands, and I did wash her hands right before we started, so... Well, this is sticky. It's not dirty or anything like that. And as you can see, as I'm mixing, I'm just adding in more and more flour. You could make this a little bit sticky if you wanted to. Some people like making it a little bit sticky for some unknown reason. I like mine to be very, very dry. Now, sometimes if you haven't really thought about something, if you're just making up something really quick, you might find you've run out of something. Once I ran out of flour as I was making this, and it was still really, really, really wet. So if that happens to you, if you're halfway through and you realize, oh, I don't have enough flour, you can still go and continue with this recipe. Just you have to cook it with oil. So if it's really sticky, you just try your best to put into little flat patties about this size. Maybe a little bit bigger, and you want about this thick. And once you have it, well actually wait, I can show you right here. So if it's really, really sticky, you want to make a patty about this size and about this thick. And then you fill a pan with a lot of oil. It's not very healthy. And you throw it in and you cook them up that way. They're smaller, they're not quite as good, but you won't be wasting anything. And if you like oily stuff, it's a good meal. I don't really like oil that much, so I don't do it that way. All right. Okay, that was very good, little girl. So, as you can see, we've got a ball of dough like this. It is sticky, but it's not that sticky. And it's ready to go. Hey, 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 hey. No, 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 no. Okay, over to the side. Thank you. Now, something I forgot to tell you, sorry. If you want to give this a bit more flavor, you can go and put cheese into it. You can put onions, you can put spices. Quite often when I'm making it, I'll go and put in stuff like some spice for making veggies. Yeah, the bottle is very dusty. I've had this for quite a while. But you can go and put in cheese. You can go and grate in cheese. You can put in little chunks of meat or berries. You can do almost anything you want with it. It's very easy. Now, as you can see, got some excess flour at the bottom. Just put that on the cutting board because you don't want to waste it. Spread it around a little bit. Yes, you spread it around quite well, little girl. Very good. Get the rolling pin. And this part really does depend on how big you want it. I like to go and wrap mine up in eggs. Well, wrap eggs in mine. So I want about a little bit bigger than my hand. And give. You want to try and roll it? All right. No, you don't roll it like that. One sec. Hold on. Okay. So take the rolling pin like this, and like this, and you roll it out. Now, again, this is a very easy, very forgiving recipe. So, you just decide how thick you want it, how big you want it, and you try and make it like that. Yes, we're getting more flour onto it. Now let go. So I like mine pretty thin, so I go and I roll it up quite nicely. If you want to go make this, if you do not want to wash a lot of dishes, you could go and use your hands to spread this out. My mother loves to do stuff with her hands. She does not like rolling pins that much. She will go and make a pizza crust out by hand without a rolling pin at all, which I cannot do. So, with it, just remember, you want to keep adding flour, just to make sure that it doesn't go and stick to anything. If you want, this is usually much quicker. It's much quicker without help. So, if you want to make this really nice and neat, You could go and roll out a really big sheet of dough and then use a cookie cutter or a knife or something to cut it into sections. I don't care about neat. I care about quick and easy. So I don't care if it's really nice or anything like that. Okay, Angie, stop. So if it's really, really out of place, I might go and fold it over and stuff. But usually I'll just leave it as is. So, okay, Angie, out of the way, please. So once that's done, you take it, you put it onto a plate, or if you heat up a pan, you heat the pan up, you put it right on the pan. Because I have a little girl beside me, I didn't want to turn the flame on until it was ready. Usually when I start rolling up the dough, I will start heating up the pan. That usually works quite well. So as the pan is heating up, you get some more dough. No, Angie, we don't need more. We have this. You get some more dough, and you start rolling it out. You will be using quite a bit of flour, depending on certain things. You don't want sticky. Now, you could use oil. Sometimes I have used oil when I'm rolling it out. It doesn't really affect the flavor that much, but like I said, I don't like oil that much. Do it. Okay, that's all yours. So, you want the pan to be kind of hot. And the way that I like to do it, like I said, I don't like using oil. I worked at McDonald's for several years and I hate oil now. Use a little bit of flour. Just put a little bit of flour at the bottom of the pan once it's hot enough. Put the dough on and you spread it around a little bit. Get it nice on there. And then you turn the pan down all the way to low. So you want it low, you do not want a big flame on it. Now, if I'd had it on a little bit earlier, this would cook quite a bit quicker. But like I said, I didn't want the flame on with her beside me when I couldn't pay a lot of attention to her. So it will take a little bit more time. With the flour, you don't have to worry about sticking, you don't have to worry about burning, and it's much, much healthier than with oil. Sorry about all the noise, I just finished washing dishes and my flipper was buried. So you can either just wait until one side is completely brown and then flip it, or flip it and flip it a few times. It's up to you, really. Usually, as I'm letting one cook, I go and start rolling out the other one, but because someone is in my way, I can't do that right now. But as you can see, this moves really freely in the pan because of the flour, and there's absolutely no oil in it. So this is what my daughter is doing, and this is a little bit too thick. If you want to cook with oil, you could make it about this thick. Actually, now that it's unfolded, yeah, you still want to cook this one with oil. If you make it about this thick, you either need to bake it in an oven, or you need to cook it with oil. If you just try to cook it like I am that one, it will not cook in the middle, and it'll be really, really chewy. That's not necessarily bad, but not the best either. One really good thing about this recipe, there's absolutely no way you can mess it up unless you go and you burn it to a crisp. If you don't cook it long enough, it'll just be chewy, no problem. If you cook it a little bit too long, it'll just be like a cracker. So again, not a big deal. And if you're going out camping or hunting, you might want like a cracker because it'll last a little bit longer. So as long as it's not black, it's fine. And what are you doing? Keep it on the cutting board. Now, if you do want a dessert, you can also make this into a little bit of a dessert. One thing I used to do when I was in university, I'd go and make this stuff up, and I'd put it in my toaster oven, actually my oven, and I would put a little bit of honey on top, and some milk and some chocolate milk mix, chocolate milk powder. It was kind of fattening, but it was very, very tasty. So if you just put honey or jam and then cooked it like that in an oven, that'd be quite nice. Now, the other thing you can do, if you want this softer, the way I'm cooking up, it's more chewy. It's a little bit like a burrito. But if you want softer, cook it with oil. You don't need a lot, just a little bit, as long as you make it thin. And it will come, and it'll be a little bit softer. You can fold it up a lot more easily. Are you having fun? What exactly are you doing? Okay. Thank you. So, as you can see, it's cooking nicely. You got a few little brown spots. I'm going to cook it for a little bit longer, but it's coming along quite nicely. This is a little bit ugly. Usually it looks a little bit nicer, but I've been having help, so it's not quite as pretty as I usually make it. Now, as you can see, as you can see, the flour does start getting a little bit brown. After about 2 or 3 times, it will get brown and it will start making it look not so nice. So when you're doing that, if you're using flour like I am, after about 2 or 3 times, you want to go and take a wet cloth, just any clean cloth, give it a quick wipe, get rid of the excess flour, heat it up again, then add a little bit more flour, put the next bread on. It does take a little bit more time, but it is healthier, and I prefer it that way. So if I did not have my helper here, I would pretty much have all of that dough rolled out and ready to go. And after it was rolled out, I put it onto a plate, waiting for the pan. And then I could go and clean the rolling pin, I could go and clean the cutting board, and by the time the last thing was on the pan, I'd have everything cleaned up and ready to go. Or, the way I usually make this for breakfast, so I'll make up scrambled eggs with it. As soon as I'm cooking the last piece of bread, the pan is at the perfect temperature for scrambling eggs. And so, sorry about that. So, you okay, Angie? Alright, so, as you can see with this one, you got a little bit of browning. Normally I'd like to do it up a little bit more, but this is good, it is done. And as you can see, it rips very easily. It's quite thin. You can roll it up for burritos, you can go and put anything you want on it, you can make it into sandwiches. And yeah, it's ready to go, it's ready to eat. So, let's just cool off a little bit. It's also not that hot. So, you can hold it in your hand. Angie, try this. Blow on it. You want to try this? Okay, you don't want to try it. Well, this is good, and she normally likes it, but she just had lunch, so she's not that hungry. Are you hungry, little girl? Alright. So, that's how you make up flatbread. Flour, water, maybe some salt, maybe some spices. And then you just cook it in a pot, in a pan. You can cook it with oil, or you can cook it in the oven. It's all very, very easy. And you could have your child help you, although I will admit it is easier if she doesn't. Okay, Angie, can you look at the camera? Say bye-bye, people. Bye-bye, people. Bye-bye. Take care.